Oh, now you can see me. I'm at Mount Zion, heading to the room of the Last Supper, which today is the Pentecost room. My name is Zahi Shaked, Isaac. I do have a nice YouTube channel, the Holy Land channel by Zahi Shaked, and I hope that you will join me in that next tour. In that tour, what do you mean next? See you. We are at Mount Zion. Mount Zion from 1948 became part of Israel. And we are going to visit the room of the Last Supper. The room of the Last Supper, the Cenaculum, Cenacle, is only one name to a very important thing. מה שלומך? טוב לראות אותך. And the first thing that you can see here is a big sign that's saying the entrance for man, and it's about King David Day. King David Day is in Shavuot, which is Pentecost. I just came from protest, very violent protest between Jews and Christians. Between Jews against Christians this time. The tension between those two, religious Jew and religious Christian, can be very difficult. There's a lot of hate between those groups, especially I'm talking about fanatic Jews and Christians. The Christians this time were amazing, but the tension was there, and we needed a police that will separate it from both. I'm talking about it because you will understand now the tension between King David tomb that belongs to the Jews, and above it is the room of the Last Supper, belongs to the Christians. Then, before we will enter to the room, if they will let me, because it's now Pentecost and the Catholic, as I believe, are organizing the room for their ceremony. On Saturday, there was a huge celebration here for David. King David. And then the tomb of King David is down there. It's a Muslim group that's visiting the room of the Last Supper, and now they will visit the tomb of King David. Then it's a triple problem: Muslim, Jews, and Christians in the same place, and everyone believes that that building belongs to them. Let's start with King David. I'll do that quickly. It's very important for Jews, Christians, and Muslims. For the Jews, is a dynasty of the Messiah. The Messiah will come from him, and he took the 12 tribes and turned them into one state of Israel, and Jerusalem became the capital of Israel until today. The songs of King David, everything is so important. For the Christians, Jesus came from the dynasty of David, and in that case, it's very important. His songs, for some of the Christians, can tell you about the new coming of, or the future coming of Jesus. For Muslims, David was a prophet, not a king, and there's a generator there, and I'm trying to escape. And I'm talking about David, was one of so many prophets. For example, Jesus is a Muslim prophet too. I'm trying to look for empty place. I'm delicate detour to two people, Carol and George, that bought the Bible, and I blessed it in a few places, and because she asked me to bless it at the Church of the Ascension where Jesus ascended into heaven, and I did it in Pentecost time. I couldn't say no to myself. I couldn't lie to myself. I knew that to be here with those two books, those two Bibles, is very important. Then in that case, I'm doing it. Then now we know why King David is very important. The upper room is about Jesus. Then let's talk about it, but it will be a little bit. It's important to do that here and not in the room because the acoustic is very problematic, and I want you to understand why I believe that the room of the Last Supper is the most important room for Christians. Then let's start with it, the story. The Bible mentioned that Jesus told the disciples to go to the city to prepare the Passover meal. Remember, Jesus never been here in Easter. We are here in Easter because of King David. Then in that case, that's the entrance to the tomb of King David. See the Muslim group here. And you know what, let's just go in for just a minute. It's a synagogue. We have to divide ourselves into two. Men will go to the men department, and I have to put a yarmulke on my head. The yarmulke will divide him from me. The men will see half of the tomb, and the women will see the other half. סליחה. That's for Karen and George. Remember, the story is not about that, but I was here. I think you already know that my tools are... No, I don't know what I'm going to do with it. Every time it's different. Then, the story. Jesus told the disciples to visit his tomb, to go to Jerusalem to look for a place, to prepare the Passover. Remember those days. Then I'm trying to find a quiet place. Oh, let me bring the kippah back. I don't need it. I have lots like that in the house. You can take it on, but if I bring another kippah to my house, I think my wife will throw me from the stairs. Oh, done. Let's talk about the Jewish law. The Jewish law must, through the Jewish law, you must prepare the Passover meal. I know where to go. Excuse me. Oh, look at that. You must prepare the Passover meal inside the city walls. At that time, Mount Zion was covered with a wall. And I thought it's going to be quiet. It's wet, and I will walk with you. Then, in that case, by law you must do that inside the wall. He told the two of the disciples to look for a man who is carry water. A man who is carry water is strange for the Jews from the time of Jesus, because usually the women did it, but only the Essenes, part of the Jews, the one who wrote Dead Sea Scrolls, used to carry water because they didn't mingle with women. That in that matter, they're excavating everywhere. Then they went to the city. Now you must understand something. If someone tells you, sorry, 3 times a year every Jew must be in the city, and I'm trying to find a secret place, a quiet place. Then if someone tells you 3 times a year, every Jew must be in the city. I'm so sorry that I'm a little bit, I don't know. You must do that in the city, not outside the city. You can imagine what will happen to the hotel prices. I know, it's happening in every city. But think about that God knew that too, and he told the Jews, you are living in the most important city in the world. You must give, you are lucky, and because of it, you must give a room for free to someone, a family that you don't know. Are you going to do that? Are you going to open your apartment, your house, to strange people? Usually the answer is no. But if you have to do that, you have to do that. Then usually you give them the roof. That's why it's called the upper room. Then when Jesus came to the Passover meal, or a day before, he told the disciples there, eat that bread, this is my body. Drink that wine, this is my blood. In every church in the world, we actually are doing it. In every church, doesn't matter if it's a Catholic, Protestant, Orthodox, doesn't matter. Every day. It is held by a priest. But here, in the room that you're going to see soon, it was held by Jesus himself. Can you understand the meaning of it? Can you understand that in a way the room of the Last Supper for me, it's the first church ever. And the priest himself was Jesus. The disciples were there, including Judah. All right? Can you understand that the meaning of the name of the room is supposed to be the first church ever? But it's not the end. This is only the beginning. Remember washing their feet of the disciples. Doubting Thomas. After the resurrection, he ate fish there because they didn't believe him. They thought that he is a ghost. And I just came from Mount of Olives. And the angels told them, go back to the same room. I mean, Jesus told them as well. And they did. And 10 days later, after he ascended into heaven, holy fire went down and people started to talk with strange languages. The message was, spread the rumor, Christianity, to all over the world. Then for me, it's not only the first church ever, it's the center of Christianity. This is much more than that. And now when you know it, and you can see a lot of Jews trying to be it by themselves, and I'm shouting here, praying, let us go back to the noise to climb up to the room. Let's go to the 16th century. The first floor belongs to King David. This is a synagogue. The second floor belongs to the Christians. It's the room of the Last Supper, the room of the Pentecost. And everyone wanted the building for themselves. The Jews wanted the building for themselves, and the Christians wanted the building for themselves. Then they made a major mistake, and they went to the Muslims, to the courthouse. And the Muslims came to the tomb of King David and told the Jews, David is our prophet. Go away, dear Jews. And then they climbed up to the room of the Last Supper, to the Cenaculum. And they told the Christians, Jesus is our prophet. Go away, dear Christians. And from that moment, it became to be mosque. And what I want you to see is the tower of the Dormition Church. It's a beautiful church, which is the house of Mary, according to the Catholic. That's where Mary fell asleep or died, according to Catholic, although now the Catholic has got a different place, another option. Then you will see a beautiful pyramid top church soon. Then until 1948, actually became, it was a mosque. You will see that the room of the Last Supper, it was built as a mosque. And you see a beautiful structure which facing to Mecca. And I will ask you to look at the glasses, and you will see that it's part of Islam. And there is the Shahada as well. Then in that case, when I'll be next to you, I will be quiet. That place, in 1948, when Israel came to here, this was part of Israel, not part of Palestine. The Israelis turned the tomb of King David. This is part of the Dormition garden. They are renovating now the garden and the church. Then the tomb of King David became to be a synagogue. You actually saw it, and the upper room is still part of Israel. It's not a church. According to the law, the Christian can pray there 7 times. Today it's one of those times. Then in that matter, it's a little bit sad for me, because the Israeli law tells us, oh, look at that. It's really class. Can you hear the bells of the church, of the Domitian church, although it's closed? But let me drink something, because I didn't drink for like 6 hours. By the Israeli law, you cannot turn down a holy site. If it's a Muslim site, it belongs to the Muslims, not to Israel. It's like an embassy. If it's a Christian site, it not belongs to Israel. It's like an embassy. Even if it's a synagogue, it doesn't belong to Israel. It belongs to the Jews, except of that room. Why? Because you saw the tension between Christians and Jews in 2 videos ago. You can imagine what will happen here if the upper room will be a church. One more thing that I want you to understand, that 5 times a year I'm helping the Christian to pray in that room. Now it's too noisy, then I will continue when I will climb up to the upper room. Yesterday night they finished the ceremony of King David. I'm talking about the Jews. Then they are organizing everything. They're cleaning the area. I could be there yesterday, but I couldn't take a video on Shabbat. Then I didn't. I stayed with my family, and my wife is celebrating her birthday. She is 61 years old. I'm younger than her in 2 months. In the room that we are reaching, you will be able to see so many things, but the acoustic is horrible. I hope that you will be able to hear me. This is the Dormition Church. The House of Mary, you saw the tower. And let's go into the room. And let's talk about everything. Mihrab, that's the way that the Muslims are praying through the Mecca. Stained windows from the mosque. Remember that the stairs that I told you to remember from King David? Here, you can see a column from 12th century, and the room itself is only from the 12th century. You can see a column here of a falcon mother who couldn't feed her own chicks. Then she decided to feed her own chicks from her own flesh. Eat that bread. The question I'm usually being asked, how can it be that it's not from the room of the Last Supper, that the room is not from the first century? It's not from the first century. I hope that you can hear me. And mainly because it's Jerusalem been destroyed. But there is an evidence downstairs from that someone tried to build a building. I will go outside for a minute and we will end it soon. Those are Christians from Cochin, India. I was talking with them earlier, and yeah, but there's noise here too. But can you hear me? I'm so sorry. I have no other choice than, in that case, the structure that you see here is from the 12th century. Usually the question that I've been asked, Zahi, where's the table? At that time there were no table. People used to sit on the floor just like the Romans. George and Carol, I'm dedicating that tour for you, but let's go in because it's horrible and I want to bless it in the room itself. Listen to them. Still closed. What time the ceremony will be here?
I have to double check.
Okay. Don't go away. Listen to them. That was, as I believe, the Lord's Prayer. Look at the tree there. Although he's shouting more than me. I mean, he's got a loud voice. Let me stop the video for just a second until they will go away. Until they will go, I wanted to see that people are speaking with tongues here. All right, now it's quiet, I can talk. The tree that you see is a present from the Pope from the year 2000. It's part of the letter of Paul, that actually Paul was a Jew before he was converted, before he met Jesus. And he came to the Turkey of today and he got the message that the Christians are starting to hate the Jews. Now, if I'm reading the Bible, if I will be, I don't know, from outer space, I will understand it. I mean, it looks like lots of hate between those two. Then in that case, George and Carol, you've been blessed here. he told them, you are the new branches. The Jews is the trunk. If you cut the trunk, you will die too. Judaism is your base thing. You build your church on top of it. But the beautiful present from the Pope gives us three main branches, trunks: Judaism, Islam, and Christianity. This is beauty. This is beautiful. Now they're speaking tongues here quietly, because by the Israeli law, that room is not a church and no one can pray here except of 7 times a year. Usually there's a God who will reach here and stop them from doing it. Here, I don't know why, no one doing it, but they're doing it quietly. This is beautiful. I can hear him chanting as well. It's Pentecost. We are in Pentecost room at Pentecost Day, Pentecost Sunday. Can you understand it? In about an hour and a half, the Catholic will come to here to have a ceremony and a mass here. Beautiful. You can see here Allah from the Muslim time, but let me show you graffiti from 12th century, Christian graffitis. Here and there. And now when I finish the video, they stopped the generator. They already finished cleaning the room, and it's even sunny. Today we had a lot of rain. We are blessed. Then George and Carol, let's face it, you are surprised. You didn't know that I'm going to do that. And for the rest of you, don't forget to subscribe my channel. See you in my next video. Bye bye.